So in this video, I'm gonna share 3 alternatives for selling on eBay. Look, I've been an eBay seller since 2010. We've sold a lot of products on the platform, and I think there've been a lot of issues on the platform as a seller, and we'll go into some of those in today's video, and then I wanna share some alternatives if you're looking to sell products online. So let's go ahead and get into this video here today. If you're new here to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this. Let's not beat around the bush, let's just get into it right now. And I think some of the biggest issues that people face as sellers on eBay, and the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the platform anymore, is firstly because the fees have gotten, just quite frankly, out of control, in my opinion. And then also, in a lot of cases, it feels like the company doesn't really prioritize the sellers on the platform anymore. I've had disputes in the past where, I'd sell products. Basically, you get like reverse scammed by the buyer. It's happened so many times where it's really off-putting, and I wanted to take things into control for myself whenever I'm selling products. And so that's what I want to share in this video, is some alternatives to selling on eBay. Now, right off the bat, you're gonna think of some ones like maybe Etsy or Amazon FBA or Mercari, Depop, Poshmark. There's a lot of different options out there. And we can talk about some of those different marketplaces, but in a lot of cases, a lot of them do face some similar situations where the fees for every product that you're selling are 10% or more. Like even on Etsy, it used to be 3%. Now we're looking at 10% on a lot of different fees on Etsy. And so these platforms have really dialed up the fees, and they're kind of like leaving sellers squeezed here in a lot of cases. And so let me share some alternatives though for selling on eBay, and I think these are some really great options for you out there. If you are a current eBay seller or you're thinking about selling on eBay but you're not quite sure, then you might want to consider some of these options before you get too deep into it. The first one here that I want to share with you is Shopify. Now look, you've probably heard of Shopify before in the past, but if you haven't, it is an all-in-one platform for hosting your own store. There are millions of people who use, businesses who use Shopify, and some of the largest companies in the world, Fortune 500 companies that are making billions of dollars, use Shopify on the back end to run their store. Now, I want to propose something to you here, which is to maybe, instead of thinking about a marketplace to sell on, actually consider hosting it on your own platform. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Hosting it on your own platform, like on Shopify, for example, there's a lot of reasons why I like this. So let me just take you into Shopify's site and show you around a little bit on some features and things why I think this can be a better option than eBay. And by the way, if you're worried about setting up a store and a little bit confused, we do have a full free training down below. It's about an hour long. It'll take you through step-by-step showing you how to set up a store. It's totally free. We don't have any courses to sell you. It's literally just free info, okay? So I will leave a link to that down below, and you can get it for $1 per month for the next 3 months as a Shopify subscription, which I think is a pretty great deal. Not sure if that's still happening right now whenever you're watching this video, but I will leave a link to that down below as well. Here's the thing with Shopify. You have this ability to create your own store, and then you can have customizable themes. You can add various different apps inside of there and basically build out exactly how you want your store to look. But the best thing about it compared to something like eBay is that you don't have those massive fees that eBay is charging for selling products on the platform. So instead of paying 10 or 15% and all these different fees, you end up paying only credit card fees when someone plugs in their card. It usually ends up being maybe 2%. Plus you have a monthly subscription on Shopify, which can be about $29 per month, sometimes a little bit higher. So it does depend on that. It is a little bit expensive in terms of monthly, $30 a month. So it depends how much product you're actually selling. You can actually start to build a brand rather than on eBay. The reason why I kind of toned things down on eBay, well, there were a lot of reasons, but one of the big ones is because I felt like I was just selling one-off products, and I wanted to build a company, build a brand where I could have customers routinely coming back and buying more of my products. And doing that on Shopify was pretty easy to do compared to something like eBay. So you can do things like collect their emails, right? Like when your customer buys something, you can then email them again and say, hey, did you like the product? We have a new product coming out. We have all these different things rolling out that maybe you would like. And so it's a lot easier to do things like that on Shopify versus something like eBay, doing things like upselling and cross-selling. We have a lot of videos on this. So, if you want to learn more about the platform, you can go check them out, make sure you're subscribed and everything. And, you can learn a lot more about that. But the other thing that I really like about it is that they have something called a point of sale. And it's basically like a physical device that lets you go to your local flea market to sell things, or maybe you have a roadside stand, or you have your own business where you have a physical location. You can have people tap their credit cards, insert their credit cards in this point of sale that is run by Shopify that you can get, and I'll leave links to that down below as well. But this is something that I think is really great and a big leg up versus eBay, where if you're selling it on eBay, you can't really do that and sell it in person like that, at least to the same level that you could do on something like Shopify. Shopify. So those are the best things about it. There are some cons though, and I want to talk about these cons very quickly here. The biggest one is that you have to go out and find the customers. You have to bring the customers to your website when you are using Shopify. And this can be pretty intimidating for a lot of people because now you have to do the marketing. But don't worry, we have a lot of videos on this helping people with marketing, whether you're running Facebook ads or Google ads, or you're just building a social media site on TikTok or on Instagram, and it's all organic traffic coming to you, and you're not paying that huge 10-15% fee that you'd be paying otherwise when you are doing something like that. And it actually gives you more ability to spend more money on marketing now because you're not paying those big fees to those companies, and you don't have that competition where they're like someone's pricing something for less. A big thing I didn't like about eBay was that maybe I'm trying to sell a product for $50 and then everyone else is trying to sell the product for $30, but like I need to sell it for $50 for it to be worth it for me. And because the customers can see all those other products, they'll just go for the cheapest one, and it ends up hurting your margins. Where if they're going onto your own store, like on Shopify, they might not see all the competition and they don't realize that maybe they could buy it cheaper from your competitor, and it allows you to have better pricing overall when you're selling something on your own store using Shopify. So those are my favorite reasons for Shopify, and it's definitely like the best option for serious sellers, people who are looking to build a very legitimate brand. Like I said, a lot of like big Fortune 500 companies use Shopify. We'll leave that free training down below and you can check it out, and I really would recommend it. I mean, you can get it for $1 per month for the next 3 months. You can just try it out, build your store. If you don't like it, just cancel the $1 a month thing and just go back to eBay or something else. Here's another option though for people who maybe are looking to spend a little bit less on hosting for a store, and that is WooCommerce using WordPress. This one's a little bit confusing because it's a little bit more technical, but it can be a lot cheaper. So WooCommerce, it plugs in with WordPress. So WordPress is one of the biggest platforms for building websites in the world. It's been around for probably, almost 30 years by now. It's older than me. So WordPress has been around for a really long time. And it's similar to Shopify in the sense that it's not a marketplace. You are creating your own store and it's your own website. And then you are bringing people to your website when you're using something like WooCommerce. I would say the biggest pro to it is definitely that it is a lot more inexpensive than something like Shopify. So you can use WooCommerce. The best way to do this is through something like Hostinger, where you can get this for a couple dollars per month. Hostinger is a pretty great price. And so this is like for the real price sensitive people. I'll leave a link to them down below if you want some special discounts using Hostinger, but I don't know if it's the one that I would really recommend to people if you're looking for ease of use, because it can be pretty confusing. You have to use Hostinger to then get WordPress to build a website on WordPress, and then you plug in WooCommerce into your WordPress site. And then once this all comes together, then you can start selling products online. So you can see like you're already mixing in like 3 different companies in order to just sell products online. A bit confusing, but still a lot of big companies like Fortune 500 companies use WooCommerce to sell products. It is very reliable. Also, a great feature to it is that it's super customizable. You can do almost anything with this because you can literally code things if you know how to do that in order to fully customize your site on something like WooCommerce. So WooCommerce may be an option for you. Now let's talk about the third one here on this list, which is Squarespace. Now you've probably seen the ads for Squarespace. You see them all the time, right? Building websites, super easy. Yeah. We've heard all of it, okay? But I think what a lot of people haven't heard is that Squarespace actually has some really great options for online sellers. I don't know why they don't promote this very much, but they really should, because they have some really cool features. I would say this is pretty similar to Shopify. It can be a little bit cheaper than Shopify, and it's almost as good as Shopify. They do have things like that point of sale. So if you wanted to sell physical products, and you wanted to sell them, at the flea market or roadside stand, something else like that, you can have people tap their credit cards and everything else, right? They have the point of sale. They partner with, I believe it's Square, in order to do that. And it's overall a really easy one. Like if you want the easiest solution for building a website and setting up a store, Squarespace, they've been integrating things like AI into their website builders so that you can do it very easily and set up a full store using Squarespace in definitely less than a couple hours. We do have a free training on that as well if you get a little bit confused on it, and I'll leave a link to that down below as well. The biggest con though is that it's probably just like not quite as good as Shopify. It's like Pepsi is to Coke, although I guess a lot of people like Pepsi, but it's pretty similar to Shopify, and it is a great option. If you don't like any of those 3 options, there are other solutions for you. You could switch to something like Etsy if you don't like eBay. You could switch to something like Amazon, but the truth is they're all bumping fees to 10% plus for every transaction, and there's not many platforms that have it for less than that. And if they do, as soon as they get enough people on the platform, then they start to raise their fees. Just like with Etsy, they went from 3% to like 10%. They all do that. And so I think the best option, the best solution is to literally bring it onto your own platform using either Shopify, WooCommerce, or Squarespace. And that way you don't have to deal with those marketplaces. They're just annoying to work with. And I've had so many bad experiences with them in the past, and they're just taking so much of your money and they're not really doing much in return. Those are the options for you. And we have a lot of videos showing you how to build stores and how to do the marketing for it. But I really would suggest it. Try it out and see what happens. I think you might end up being pretty satisfied with it. Obviously, can't guarantee anything. That's what I would suggest doing in 2023 going into 2024. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram like up here or somewhere. You can DM me questions about anything that you might have. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Leave some thoughts down below in the comments section. I'll see everybody sometime in a future video.